Hello, I'm the Heathen Brewer. I've been watching all you people on YouTube doing brewing vlogs for a year and a half now. I found you all highly inspirational, so I thought I'd take the plunge. It's been given a bit of a nudge by those people in the community, and and for myself really. Maybe I better give something back. People better have a look at my equipment and make some scathing comments and what have you, and maybe sort of give me advice, and maybe I can give people advice. I don't know. See how it goes. Yeah, I mean, a little introduction. I first started brewing back in '96. Really, I've not been doing it since then, but I used to do some brewing with my dad. Did it for about 2 years. Mainly kits, brew foam kits predominantly. Crew, Diablo, and sort of all that sort of stuff. The wheat beer and all that malarkey which we were doing back then. And I found them, very good. The first foray into grain steeping, I think, and malt kits. And then I sort of bought a house. Family came along. I stopped brewing, and I hadn't started brewing now until 2015, when on Father's Day I got a Brooklyn brewing kit which had all the equipment, the demijohn, the lot, steeping the grains and doing a mash and all that sort of stuff. I really got the bug for it, and from that point onwards, what would it be, sort of, I think it was July or something, 2015 till now. Collected a lot of my equipment myself, made some equipment myself. It's just been great fun. It's been a really good hobby. It's the sort of hobby which it's not just money spent against the wall. If you already like a beer anyway, you're saving yourself a fortune, because you can make so much beer for such a small amount of money, and it's equals, if not better, the quality that you can get on the shelves. But that's sort of how it goes. I mean, as far as beers are concerned, over the last year and a half, I've brewed Belgian triples, stouts, porters, IPAs, American IPAs, American pales. I think I did a wheat beer. I've done rye beer, which is particularly good. And to be honest with you, it's only probably a couple of beers I've made, probably 2, 3, maybe 4 beers I've made, which I thought to myself, this is, it's not particularly nice. It's not that I haven't drunk it, it's just it's not been particularly nice, but that's what I've done. And I sort of intend to sort of advance that a little bit further, maybe do a few more beers, a few more different styles. Saisons maybe. I've only done one saison, it didn't turn out particularly well. And sort of work on it from there really. Saison, some more Belgian beers would be nice. Different lagers, different German beers. But yeah, it's sort of keep it original. Try and keep it moving. Try and keep something sort of new moving all the time. But today, as the first brew of all, I'm going to do a Pilsner Urquell clone, and it'll be mixed. It'll be made with Heidelberg malt, and it's going to have a Cara aroma malt and some dextrin, just to give it a bit of head retention. Spiced with Saaz hops and a 3470 yeast Saf lager. So that's what you're into. That's what you're going to be getting today. I hope you enjoy it. Please put thumbs up or thumbs down or whatever you want to do. Criticise, comment, scathe, the lot. It's all part of it. Just hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much. There's that pouring water into a big vessel. It's got to be probably one of the worst, the most boring, the most tedious things. But to give you a little bit of what I do is spoil my water treatment with the lagers. What I do with the lager, it has to be quite soft and very soft. If I can, this particular bottle of water, the nice one. So it's the Eden Falls. It's got a a little sort of typical water analysis on the back. I'm going to focus. No, it's not going to focus. But anyway, it's got a typical water analysis on it. And it's fairly soft water. And if you put 50-50, of that with RO water, you get fairly close to Pilsner water, which isn't too bad. All you need is a little bit of salt, just a little pinch of salt in there, just to raise the sodium level up, and you're sort of there. So that's not too bad. So I recommend it. Heathen Falls from Asda, 50-50 RO water. Give it a go. A little pinch of salt, get the sodium level up, you're done. That's 23 litres of Heathen Falls and the RO water equal mix in there. I don't put any additives in it. I don't put any Camden tablets or any other water treatment. What I will do, whilst we're on the subject, I will put a little pinch of salt in there, probably a gram of salt, just to raise the sodium level up a little bit. And that's about it really. As far as the water's concerned, that's pretty much to go. It's actually on. It's coming at full, fairly decent temperatures. When it comes up to 75 degrees, I'll sort of switch it off and start my mash, really. Start my mashing process, which is, well, involving to say the least. I'll just do you a little clip of what this little mash tun is like inside. We've got like a silicone gasket on the outside. It's pretty good. I'll tell you what, it's only been sat in sort of room temperature water, and you can smell the aromas of the malt. It's brilliant. Yeah, that's it really. So it's twin walled. It's got a sort of foam insulation around the inside of it. And that's the mash. It's quite thick, and it gets diluted with the water from there and in there, of course. And it's sort of it's going to thin it out a little bit, maybe raise the temperature a bit, but I'll add enough hot water into the mash to make it the correct temp, using my ultra reliable IG Plus thermometer. Well, perhaps if it can be bothered to read a decent temperature. No thermo well, just sensor whacked right in the middle of there. Find that handy little clip, you know, sticking your siphoning tube on. It seems to do the trick. We're up to 63.5 on the old IG Plus. I'm not actually sure about these either, to be honest with you. I'll give it an occasional stir. Seems to do the job. Now I've got two Sapphilagers that I've washed. Been used before. It's probably the second time we're using. Last time we used them was my Königstuhl beer I made, which is very nice. I've got quite a bit of sediment going on there, so I'm hoping those two, I don't need to do get a starter going, but it's just going to be whack it straight in, take the bar, obviously take the fluid off the top, give it a bit of a squiz around and then whack it straight in. So it should be good. It's all pretty good looking yeast. There's very little trub in there, so you crack on really. Collecting 7 litres of water at 75 degrees. Just to go into the mash down below. You see it? 75 degrees centigrade water. It's going into the jug. I'm putting about 7 litres in here. Just try and get that temperature to raise to about 48, well between 38 and 40 degrees centigrade for the first, the acid rest of the mash. Yeah, that's about it really, and then it's going to sit there for about 10 minutes I think. So that's 6 litres in. That's another litre. Let's have a look, see what the temperature's doing. I bet it's right off the mark. Right off the mark. No, it's not. It's coming up. Wait for it to sort of equalise a little bit. Coming in just at 40 degrees. See if you can. Superb. We're going to transfer 3 litres of the mash. It's not going to be the liquid part of the mash, it's just going to be the grain. The liquid part of the mash stays behind and it stays in the mash tun. That contains all the enzymes which convert all the starches to sugars. You know, obviously with the aid of a bit of heat. And the heat is generated by the boiling of the grain. You know, this thick end of the mash, as they call it. That's boiled for 10 minutes to make sure that you're getting sort of a decent heat transfer through the mash. And also what it does is it converts a lot of the sugars and sort of caramelises them unknowingly, and also darkens the wort a little bit later on. If you notice, if you've ever seen any videos where people have decocted side by side with single infusions, what they're doing is they're getting a darker wort because of the sort of the Maillard and sort of the caramelisation of the grains. What we're doing is taking all the grain out and actually taking any of the fluid, trying to keep as much of the fluid, which has got the enzyme in it, behind. And what we're going to do is we're going to sort of caramelise these malts, and that's what gives this sort of unctuous flavour. That's 3 litres, thereabouts. Goes in there. Put the lid back on. We've got 3 litres of thick wort, well, thick mash, sorry, not thick wort, it's not wort yet. We've got 3 litres of thick wort, thick mash. And what we've got to do is just got to put it on a high heat, well, high-ish heat, it's not that high. But you've got to watch what you're doing. You can't catch, it can't burn on the bottom. If it burns, it's going to ruin the flavour. You want it to sort of get some caramelisation on it, but you don't want it to burn too much. Well, you don't want it to cook too much, and you certainly don't want it to scorch. So what I'm doing here, what we're doing is we're going to try and get this to boil. And when this boils, what will happen is all your grain husks will start to soften. More enzymes will be released. You'll get a sort of a caramelling, sort of basically like a softening of the grain, and you release all that sort of goodness, all that sweetness comes out of the wort. It's just a really good way of doing it. I mean, I'm actually doing not only lagers, I'm doing ales like this as well, because you know it improves your efficiencies as well. You get every last bit of the sugars out of the grains. The mash is boiling. I'm happy with that. Set the timer for 10 minutes. We'll come back in 10 minutes time. Just had a bit of the boil of some of the sugars out. When it's had 10 minutes in the thing, try and put it back into the mash as easy as you can. It's not all that easy, unfortunately. Perhaps I should have done it with a jerk, maybe it would have been easier. Stick the thick part of the mash back into the main mash. Check the temperature, make sure it's alright. Give it a little stir, make sure it's coming up to heat. Get the temperature probe on it. Stop it. A bit of a cock up. Put the boiled mash back into the tun. The tun's cooled because it's bloody freezing outside. I think it must be that I got a sort of a draft against it or something. Anyway, regardless of that, it might have been that it needed more mash in there to boil up. I've had to decant some more of the mash out, reboil some more mash, and put it back in later on just to raise the temperature. It came in at 41 degrees, which isn't quite hot enough for what I want to do. It needs to be up to 50 degrees to get a protein rest. So I've taken a load more out, about 3 litres out, 4 litres out. I'm going to boil it up and stick it back in a minute, see if we can get that temperature just to raise a little bit more. So hold tight. Okay, well, as you can see by the Hydroplus thermometer, I fit 49.6. I'm really happy with that. That's a pretty good protein rest. It's taken probably about another 15 minutes just to get that sort of that extra grain bill up to heat. You know, I'm here for the long haul. I mean, it's all part of the brewing process. It's all part of being a home brewer. It's, you know, giving yourself an extra day. It's like, instead of it being probably 2 or 3, 4 hours out of your day, it's taking you sort of like 5, 6, 7 hours out of your day. It makes it more of a process. That's what I like about it. I mean, to be honest with you, what I'll do now is I get it. So it's mashed, it's drained, it's in a boiler, and then I'll decant the boiler. I get all that crap off the bottom of the boiler, and then it's straight up to a boil. So how we're going to leave it tonight is I'm going to get it mashed. We get it all mashed out. It's all good. It's all going to be raised. It's going to be a mash out. It's going to be drained. It's going to be sparged, and it's going to be put into the kettle for tomorrow morning. And what I'm going to do tomorrow morning, because it's now 11:30, probably about 1:30, I'll probably be looking at going to bed. It's tip top. I do it for the love of it. Right, this is the mash schedule for the sack rest. I've probably got nearly all my grain bill in here, all I can get out of it. That's not down by the sort of the filter. It was because it's so cold. I don't know, maybe it's not because it's so cold, maybe it's just because Beer Smiths seems to be a load of shit at the moment, but I've upped the level for the sack rest, because this is probably, this is what's saccharification rest, it's what's going to give you the sugars. I've upped it a little bit. It's probably, well, it's virtually all the grain bill that's gone in here. Now, there's two ways of doing a decoction mash. One is the Beer Smith way, which I've never seems to work. And the other one seems to be the conventional method, the German method, which is where you take all the thick part of the mash out, you put all the thick part of the mash in a pot, a stock pot, or you then boil it, and then you put sections of it back, which give you the temperatures that you require. So you may leave half of your thick mash in the pot and then put half of it back into the thin part of the mash to get that sort of temperature. Now I'm steering towards that because, to be honest with you, the sort of the Noonan system, I don't know whether it's, maybe I've not got it right. I don't know what it is, but I've done this 3 times with the Noonan and it don't seem to work too good. So folks, if you're going to do it the Noonan way, stop. Do it the traditional way. Take all your mash out, all your thick part of the mash, as much as you can get out of that thin part. Leave the thin part behind, boil it all up and add sections of it back to the thin part, which will give you your temperatures. The final boil for the sack rest. God, it's been a long one, I'll tell you that. Shuffle it along a little bit. Get yourself one of these if you're going to do it. It's like a fish fryer thing. Like for when you stick a thing in the deep fat fryer. Really brilliant. You can scoop a load of grain out of it, just like mounts up on it, and you can stick it straight in. I enjoy doing it. It must be a sadist or something. It must be, because it gives me an extra bit of extra hobby, really. It's good. It's boiling. Been boiling now for 10 minutes. I'll put it in. Final sack rest. 40 minutes. As soon as the temperature is good. We reached 66.4. I'm happy with that. That's not bad. It's probably 0.6 of a degree off where it need to be, but it's so cold here. It's not bad going really. By the time the lid's on and it starts to get a bit of momentum, it'll probably get fairly close to that. Taking off the decocting off the thin part of the mash. That's about 8 litres. What we've got to do is boil that now. Put the lid back on. sat rest is done. Decocted about 8 litres of the thin part of the mash. It's gone back into boil pot and stirring it. Break the camera. Stop it catching on the bottom. If it's catching at this stage, you can pull that off in. So just leave it. Stir it now and then, wait for it to boil. It boils, and it boil for 5 minutes. Whack it back into the mash tun with the rest of the mash, and that would be your mash out. Hopefully we're going to sort of hit some target close to 75, which would be good. 74 degrees for the mash out. I'm going to do that now for 10 minutes, and then it's a bit of a sparging. See what happens then. 78.6 on the sparge water. Circulate some of this first run-ins over the mash bed. Give them a sort of tin tray effort. Seems to do the job. So it seems to be running quite freely there. Right, so put a good sparge out of there. The sparge arm itself is like a John Guest sort of speed fit sort of jolly with a bit of silicone hose on the end, and I just drilled some sort of, I think it's like 2mm holes or 1mm hole in the, but not even that, I think it's about 1mm hole in the, all the way around in the markings that you get on there, and it's just sort of created this ring, which I'll show you in a minute what it's like. It's supposed to be quite a decent little thing, and if I just show you what it's like. Bring it in and just control it like that. It's a nice slow sparge. It's doing the job. There's a bit of water going in there. It's going into there. And filtered as well. Just the trick. Excuse the walls, got a bit of mash debris on there. Yeah. And that's the sort of sparge arm working, it just like trickles in, drops in, keeps it level, try and keep the mash working at the same sort of speed. Trick, I mean, look how clear that is there, look. Right off the bed there. Smash bag here is just a precaution, but very clear in it. Beautiful. Taking a sample of the wort. It's coming quite high actually. I've got a reading. Not able to see, let's see if it focuses in a little bit. The reading is about 50, which is quite high considering it's a pre-boil reading. So after the boil it should be 49. This is coming in at 50 before the boil, so I've put 2 litres of water in to dilute it, just to bring the levels up a bit. So I've now got 27 litres in the kettle. Just about put it on, get it set for a boil, so I can start putting my hop additions in. It's going to be 50 grams of SARS. Ordinarily what I would do is I would pour the wort on top. therefore it's sort of stimulating the release of the oils and the sort of the bitterness. But I can't do with this one, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the hops now to the basket whilst it's cool, and then bring it up, and then it'll sort of, as it gradually gets warmer, it'll release a lot more of the oils, the flavours and the bitters. That's the second edition of hops, just gone in. I'd like to have videoed it, but I can't put the hops in and the video at the same time. Yeah, it's all going alright. The hops are a bit floaty. Hopefully they're going to drop down a bit, keep prodding them down with the trusty paddle. Yeah, also there was a bit of like a dark sort of scum along the top, which was sort of like skim off, which is something I normally have to do. It looked a little bit unsightly, but I've got rid of a lot of it, and a lot has just dropped down. Well, that's a sort of 60 minutes, so I will come back in, I think, 15 minutes to the end, but I'll just go and double check. I think it's 15 minutes to the end for the last boil hops, and then it's the steep hops. So, see you then. I'm going to put the 40-minute hop. It wasn't a 15-minute. I've got all that mixed up. I've got a 60. Well, first of all hop, a 60, then a 40, and then I've got a half-hour steep right at the end. All of which are 50 grams each. So there's 200 grams of hop going in this. I hope I can fit it all in the strainer really, but we'll give it a go. Anyway, if you can go with this, I'll stick a few of those in. Just found out with sort of one of my little utensils, or this the floating hops sort of situation where you've got to try and keep them submerged. Got my little trusty little, I don't know what you call it, like a fish fryer I suppose it is, and it fits just right inside that, so that can go right down. Put it against the side there, and look, keeps them all submerged under there. Look, can stay like that till the end of the boil. Sweet. Right, that's well, to the last 15 minutes of the boil. The water chiller's in. I've got it just coming up, back up again to the boil. Still got a little doobie in there, it's doing quite well. Yeah, we've just got another 5 minutes and I'll put some Irish moss in there. Final 10 minutes, shut it down, start cooling it, and then I'll do the steep. The steep's going to be at 80 degrees, because I read somewhere that at 80 degrees you don't inhibit any bittering. What you do is you get a lot of aromatics, but very little bittering, which is what you want really. So that's what's next. So 5 minutes is going to be Irish moss. I won't show that, but I'll come back for the steep. Well, I've got rid of all the old hops that are in there. It's time for the steep. The chiller's in there. It's chilled it down to 78 degrees, which is close enough for me. I'm happy with that. I've got the thermometer in there just to check it. What I'm going to do is stick the remaining 50 grams of SARS in there. Let it steep for 30 minutes at 80, or as close to it, 78, whatever it's running at. That should be spot on. And then what I'll do is I'll finish cooling it, stick it straight into the fermenter, bit of yeast, finish it off, and then that's it. It's all done. Come up to the final leg now. This is the cooling session now. It's been steeping, hops have been steeping for half an hour, between 79 and 80. Cooler's doing its job nicely. Temperature's now down to 29. I've had to add 3 more litres of water to get the volume, sort of the gravity to where I want it. It was coming in a little bit high, so I've added, say, 3 more litres. Just added a litre of boiling water now, just to dilute it down. It's still coming in a little bit high, but this should just hit the mark, I think. So I think we'll probably put that down to some efficiency, really. It's, whatever's happened, the decoction seems to have given me some extremely good efficiency. So I'm really happy about that. I mean, it sort of depends how it pans out as a beer, of course, but yeah, feeling quite pleased. I'm going to whack it straight into a bucket in a minute, get the yeast going in it, and hope for the best. The motor is sterilised. Put starts on in there. Swirl around, cleared out. It's going in there now. And add the yeast as it's going in. So you beat it around, get it aired up. A bit of aeration on it. See how much we've got left. It's quite a bit in there. Had to add another litre of boiled water to bring that right up. Efficiency's all over the place, I think. I know it's a very sweet wort, but must be really efficient, which is good. It's a matter of cracking the lid back on it and letting it ferment. I'll come back with a little summary in a minute. Cheers. Well, the fermenter's full. It's about as much as I want to get in it. Efficiency's out of orbit, really. I'm coming in at 51, maybe 52, and it's only meant to have been 49 for 20 litres. I've got what, nearly 22.5 litres there. I think it's going around about 85% efficient if beer smith's got anything to do with it. Yeast's in. I poured the yeast in the flow of the water as it was going in. All good. So we'll let that sit in here for a bit, or somewhere a little bit warmer maybe, let it ferment for a few days, and then I think when the gravity gets down to about 17, maybe 18, I might just whack it straight into the bottles without even priming it. I don't know, I mean, what do you reckon? I think that's sort of tradition for what they do. I've not really been much of a holder for tradition on that method, but well, why not? Give it a go. It's just a bit of a recap, really. Really on the brew day, sort of stroke days. Started a bit late. Should have really have got on with it a little bit earlier. I wasn't going to do any brew footage, but I sort of like felt, why not give it a go? It's the first time. I've been meaning to do it for a long time. I thought it'd be really a bit of a challenge. It's been a bit of a challenge. Trying to get it stored on my iPad's been a bit of a challenge. I've got the iMovie app, so I'm sort of trying to find my way around that as well. It's going to be a bit of a challenge. As far as the day's concerned, as far as the brewing's been concerned, it's been quite a bit of a mixed bag, really. I think the decoction side of things went okay. I think what we'll probably do is get away with that whole Noonan's sort of side of things. I've tried it a couple of times. I don't think it properly works. You sort of instead of, traditionally there's two ways of doing it. There's a Noonan's way, which is where you decoct certain amounts of the mash, you boil it, and then you put it back, all of it back in. And the other way is to take out all of the mash, all of the thick end of the mash, boil it, and then take out part of that boiled mash and put it back in until you raise the temperature up to what it needs to be. That seems to be a bit more of an efficient way, because I'm always way too low on my targets as far as that's concerned. So I've got to take it all back out again and then reboil it. It seems pointless. So I think next time I do a decoction, let's see if we can get a burner or a bigger pot, stick it all in there and give it a go. I think it'll turn out better doing it that way. Anything else? Shouldn't have really done it over 2 days. I couldn't really get on with this evening again. Sort of finished it early in the morning. As far as the mashing is concerned, the mash got finished early in the morning yesterday, this morning. Too early, too late. It's crazy, but good fun nonetheless, you know. A good bit of banter from the brew tube guys as well. It keeps you going, you know, a bit of egging you on and sort of encouragement. It's all good, I'd say. So cheers for that. And also I've sort of been busy this morning, so I couldn't really do a lot with it. So I had to start it sort of late this afternoon, which was a bit of a pain in the arse. But I got it done, cracked on with it, and I got it finished. It's all done and dusted. It's all in the fermenter. Far exceeded my amounts, far exceeded the sort of the gravity. Really chuffed with it, really. Just got to wait now, make sure that it's it ferments down, and lagers are like, they can be a bit of a bugger sometimes, but give it a shout. Yeah, so I'd just like to say a big thanks to Adam at Baldy's, Blunder and Brewer, you know, a whole load of you out there, you know, all encouraging me on, you know, get a video out, you won't regret it, you look a fool, you feel an idiot, yeah, I feel like an idiot, probably look a fool as well, but just keep persevering with it, things will get better. You'll look back at this in a year's time and you think to yourself, God, how embarrassing. But, you know, big thanks, big shout out to really everybody on BrewTube. I think it's a fantastic little sort of Facebook gathering. You know, there's so much camaraderie and we're all sort of really pulling together. Everything's really friendly. That's what it really needs. It's sort of like it's like an extra sort of dimension to the whole sort of YouTube sort of community. So you can actually talk to people who you've been following on a sort of a one-to-one basis, and I think it's great. But I've been waffling on too long. I've got far too much footage. I think it's time to wrap it up and say, you know, big thanks again. And it's been Heathen Brewer. You've been watching me doing a load of brewing and doing a load of chatting. So thanks again. See you around. Ta-da.